Whatever you do, don't step outside this bar. The moment a man walked out the door, he was shot in the head. People on the street screamed in panic and scattered in every direction. A firefighter sitting inside the bar rushed out to check on the victim, only to be gunned down as well. These two men didn't know each other, they were just ordinary citizens. Everyone inside started speculating, was it a terrorist attack? But when they turned on the TV, there was no breaking news about anything. Then Trini looked outside and noticed that the two bodies had vanished, along with all the bloodstains. What on earth is going on? Stick with my channel to find out. The group kept guessing. Could there be a serial killer hiding a bomb inside the bar while police are lying in wait outside, ready to shoot first and ask questions later? Just then, Nacho secretly pushed his backpack behind the counter. Sergio caught him in the act and immediately called everyone over to restrain Nacho. The bar owner yanked open the backpack and pulled out a black box that looked suspiciously like a bomb trigger. Nacho was on the verge of tears, insisting it was just an external hard drive. No one believed him until Elena grabbed the box, smashed it on the floor, and stomped on it, scattering circuit boards everywhere. Only then did everyone believe it really was just a hard drive. It turned out Nacho hid the backpack because he was afraid people would see it, assume there was a bomb inside, and throw it outside. But then Nacho noticed a black suitcase on the counter, Sergio's. Everyone panicked again, thinking this might contain a bomb. Sergio tried to grab it back, but Satter blocked him, so Sergio punched him. Andres, a retired police officer, immediately pulled a gun on Sergio. As tensions flared, Israel suddenly lunged from the corner, snatched the suitcase, and crouched by the door. Thinking it was full of cash, he opened it only for women's underwear to spill out. Turns out Sergio sold lingerie, and he had fought so hard to reclaim the suitcase because he didn't want everyone thinking he was some pervert carrying around women's underwear. 2 misunderstandings cleared up, but the mysterious shootings remained unsolved. Then came a knock from the restroom. Everyone rushed over. The bar owner tried to open the door but found it locked from the inside. Andres shot the lock open. Inside, a man weighing nearly 220 pounds was hunched over the toilet, convulsing. Everyone assumed he was overdosing and ignored him, except Elena, who asked if he needed help. The man didn't respond. Elena spotted a syringe on the floor and picked it up. It looked like some kind of biochemical injector, not a typical drug needle. Suddenly, blood trickled from the man's ears. Terrified, Elena fled the restroom. Meanwhile, outside, they saw police officers in hazmat masks stacking several tires in front of the bar entrance. They pounded on the door, begging for help, but the police ignored them, set the tires on fire, and left. Moments later, the man from the restroom staggered out, his eyes turned completely white, and he collapsed. As they tried to revive him, he gasped, "Don't touch me," and died instantly. Everyone froze in shock. Trini picked up his phone. Nacho scrolled through and discovered he was a soldier. There was even a photo of a doctor in protective gear disinfecting an area. It hit them. This man was infected, and the police were quarantining the outbreak zone. Among the group, only the bar owner, Sergio, and Andres had not touched the infected man or his phone. The rest quickly split into 2 factions. Armed with a gun, Andres and the owner forced Elena's group to carry the man's body down to the basement. But then chaos erupted. Trini, who suffered from claustrophobia, began gasping for air, panicking, and pounding on the basement door to be let out. In her frenzy, she accidentally shattered a barrel of fine wine. Nacho noticed the wine didn't pool on the floor. He tore up some boards and discovered a drainage grate. Israel pried it open and tossed a bottle down. The splash suggested the drop wasn't very deep. Down there, a person could barely stand, but the most disgusting part was the sewage, full of human waste and urine. Trying to escape through that was enough to make anyone vomit. But not Israel. He stripped off his clothes and poured oil over his body to make himself slippery enough to squeeze through the drain. He managed to get his lower half in, but got stuck at the waist. He screamed and tried again, but was stuck once more. Satter pushed down on Israel's shoulders with all his strength, but it didn't work. Nacho joined in, kicking Israel furiously, but nothing helped. When they tried to pull him back up, they realized he was completely wedged, unable to move up or down. Then, gunshots rang out from above. Satter peeked through a crack and saw the bar owner, Andres, and Sergio had all been shot dead. Nacho quickly switched off the light, but then noticed flames creeping over the basement door. It became clear, the police weren't here to save anyone, they were here to silence them. Thick smoke and fire spread downward. In less than 5 minutes, they would all suffocate. With Elena's help, they managed to pull Israel back up. Finally, fresh air from the drain started seeping into the basement. But a new problem arose. Trini's claustrophobia kicked in. She scrambled up the stairs, pushing against the door, burning both her hands in the process. Elena had no choice but to use cooking oil to clean and bandage the wounds. Half an hour passed. Things grew quiet above, and the smoke stopped. They hurried back up. Nacho picked up a gun lying on the floor, while Elena grabbed the infected soldier's phone and found a text message. They learned that after the soldier was infected, he had injected himself with an antidote, but the antidote was unstable, it mutated his eyes and ultimately caused a fatal hemorrhage. Worse, there were only 4 doses left but 5 people still alive. Their only chance was to find those antidotes. They split up to search. Elena remembered the soldier had injected himself in the restroom, so she led them there. But Israel found the antidotes first and injected himself without hesitation. Now only 3 doses remained. Nacho, furious, pulled a gun on Israel, but Israel fought like a madman. He overpowered Nacho, pinned him to the ground, and punched him until the room spun, then snatched the gun. At the edge of life and death, selfishness consumed them. Israel waved the gun wildly, threatening everyone to stay back. The remaining doses were tossed aside. Sadr lunged for them. Israel lunged too. In the struggle, the vials slipped and tumbled into the basement. Trini grabbed for them but, with her bandaged hands, dropped the vials straight into the sewer below. The chaos paused for a moment. Elena, being the smallest, was chosen to climb down and retrieve them. Terrified but desperate to survive, she stripped down and oiled her body. Even so, she got stuck. Sadr clenched his teeth and shoved her down with all his strength. Elena's skin was scraped raw, her leg bleeding as she finally slipped into the drain. Holding her breath, she searched until she found the 3 doses. The group shouted for her to tie them to a rope, but Elena feared they'd steal them, so she hid the vials in a crevice. Then she caught sight of the police burning the bar owners' group's corpses, a horrifying scene that made her too afraid to come back out. As Elena refused to return, the others above grew frantic. They pried open the drain cover, widened the hole, and one by one crawled down into the foul sewer to find her. Finally, they did. But then Nacho seized his chance for revenge. He dragged Israel under and fired. Nacho resurfaced from the filthy water, while Israel was dead. The others stared at Nacho like he was a monster. Elena didn't dare resist. She quietly led Nacho to search for the remaining vials. The 4 of them ventured deeper into the dark tunnel, until Trini suddenly shoved Sadr into the water and held him under, ensuring the 3 remaining doses would only need to be shared among them. Nacho immediately fired his gun, and the flash of the shot exposed Trini's cruel act. Sadr was pulled back to safety. Realizing her actions had been discovered and knowing she would never get a share of the antidote, Trini walked to a corner, raised the gun, and took her own life. Now, the 3 survivors could finally split the remaining antidote. Elena led them to her hiding spot, retrieved the vials, and handed them out. But just as they were about to inject themselves, Israel suddenly appeared out of nowhere and killed Sadr on the spot. At that moment, Israel was like a demon from hell, consumed by vengeance. Terrified, Elena and Nacho fled. They scrambled toward an exit and climbed up a ladder. Suddenly, Elena slipped, she screamed, and the vial she had been holding in her mouth dropped. Neither of them dared stop. They kept climbing until they reached the manhole cover. They pushed with all their might, but the 300-kilogram cover wouldn't budge. No matter how loudly they screamed for help, no one above could hear them. Within moments, Israel caught up and grabbed Nacho. Nacho knew that as long as Israel lived, he would never stop. He shoved his own antidote into Elena's hand, then tackled Israel. Both men plummeted back down, smashing into the concrete below. Blood spread quickly through the filthy water. Both were dead instantly. Elena was devastated. Her will to survive ignited. She injected herself with the antidote and, with everything she had left, kept pushing the manhole cover. Above ground, she saw police still stationed at the bar entrance, surrounded by onlookers who had no idea what had happened below. A passing woman, seeing Elena's battered, filthy state, immediately took off her coat and draped it over her shoulders. In this outbreak, Elena was the only one who survived. Everyone else perished, not only because of the virus but because of the cruelty and selfishness of humankind. And with that, the film comes to an end. The movie is called The Bar 2017. Question for you: among all the people trapped in the bar, who do you think was the most despicable? Leave your answer in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you next time.